Lesson 3.5. This is for Monday, (03/30/2020), and this is for the schedule 5:30 to 7:20 p.m. for math 0404. All right. Okay, start with lesson 3.5. Lesson 3.5 is about comparing values in a region. So comparing values in a region. Okay. This, we're going to do example number 1. Because you're trying to compare values in a region and those values comes in different forms. And one of the form is it comes in a form of a decimal. So we need to know how to compare decimals so that we can apply that in trying to identify which region is bigger than the other. Okay, so I'm gonna give 6 examples for example for this is, I'm gonna call this example 1 for decimal numbers. This is comparing decimal numbers. The first example is, follow along with me guys using your notebook, using the materials I provided to you as as a file. It's better if you print it. So the first example is 0.058 compared to 0.007. Right away, you know they're not equal. So the symbol we can use is either this symbol or this symbol because they're not equal, right? So it's either this one or this one. Okay, so how am I supposed to know? Well, convert this as a fraction with the same denominator as this. So convert both of these into a fraction, and you know that 0.058 is the same thing as 0.58 over 1,000. Why 1,000? Because 1, 2, 3. You can ignore this. This is insignificant figure. And then this one, 0.007 is the same thing as 0.007. And then that would be 1,000 over 1,000 because you're trying to convert this into a fraction. Now 0.58 is actually 58. Then copy over the denominator. And 0.007 is actually 7, and copy over the denominator 1,000. Now if you look, the denominator is the same, so the only way you can figure out which fraction is bigger in value is by looking at the numerator, because you make them the same now. So 58 has a bigger value than 7, therefore 58 over 1,000, let's put the symbol right here in a box, is greater than 7 over 1,000. Thus 0.058, so thus 0.058 is greater than 0.007. So that would be your answer. So what is the major step that we did in order for us to to identify or to figure out which value is bigger? I think this part right here. This is the part. You convert them into a fraction where the denominator is the same. That's the major or the most important part of this example. Alright? If you have a question again, try to send a comment and I will address that as soon as I can. Okay. Well, letter B. I have here a negative 1.1137 compared to, so I'm gonna put a box so we won't mislook that as a number written side by side. Negative 1.2. Okay, right away you know they're not equal, correct? So that means it's either this symbol or that symbol. Okay, so in this case, instead of us trying to change this into a fraction, okay, let me see, let's try this into a fraction. If you look at this number, it has 1 2 3 7 1 1 1 3 7, so 1 1 3 7, this is 4 digits, so this is compared to here it's 1 digit. So it's not, using a fraction is not good, you know what I mean? And this is negative. So one way of doing this, because it's negative, the number is reversed, the value is reversed. Let's use a number line. Okay, I'm gonna use a number line on this. Okay, so let's say a number line, a number line. Okay, let this be my number line. And if you look at the numbers here, they're all negative, so I can assign my 0 to be right here. So of course, to the right of 0 will be up to positive infinity. To the left of 0 will be, I'm gonna approach negative infinity. Now I'm gonna put this in. Let me label my number line. Let me make this negative 1, and then make this negative 2. Now approximately the middle of these two will be right here, and that would be negative 1.5, correct? So now I can now say that negative 1.2 will be a little bit right here. So negative 1.2. And then negative 1.1137, it's somewhere right here, very close. So this will be negative 1.1137. Okay, now look at the two points right now. Which of the point is closer to 0? Because this is our reference. 0 is a reference. The concept of negative numbers is the distance from 0. If a number is negative, the farther it is to 0, the lesser its value. I want you to remember that, guys, okay? Again, I'm going to repeat that. The concept of negative numbers. Because it's negative, then the value is reversed. using 0 as a reference point, and the number, a negative number, the farther it is to 0, or the farther it is from 0, the lesser its value. So if you look at this, 2 points, negative 1.2 is farther from 0 compared to the point negative 1.1137. So that means that this is lesser in value compared to this number. So thus, up here, we can say that negative 1.1137 is greater than negative 1.2. It's greater than, because this is closer from 0 compared to negative 1.2. So right here, in example, letter A example, we use the fraction, the concept of fraction, to compare them. In example B, we use the concept of number line, and of course, a special mention on the concept of negative numbers to compare them. And of course, I know that one logical question is that why you didn't use fraction like what you did in letter A to compare this. Well, I know you can also use a fraction, the concept of fraction, to compare this, but because it has a whole number, and of course the decimal places, they're not the same, so I will do at least 2 extra steps before I can get to the last part, which is like this one right here. Whereas if I use the number line, well, I won't go through a lot of steps except making a number line, of course, and labeling it with the corresponding numbers and plotting of points. And plotting of points is a concept that we learned starting when we were 6th grade. So I know you know how you understand that. So that is the reason why I use this way, the concept of number line, instead of using the concept of a fraction. Okay?